developing a more dynamic flexibility as opposed to a rigidity. Finding the right kind of interpersonal nutrition to help fortify that which is malnourished to begin with, as opposed to trying to create some stiff and rigid facade over top of it. I like to kind of tongue-in-cheek refer to this as Octopus Shamanism. The octopus is a very enigmatic creature. According to the evolutionary story long ago, it ditched its shell. It once had a shell. At some point it got rid of that and embraced its vulnerability, becoming something of an enigma. And what do you know? That which it was protecting before with its shell became its greatest strength. Phenomenally adaptive. Inquisitive. Octopuses, which apparently is the preferred term, by the way, octopuses. I don't know why. Ask the fucking pontificators, I don't know. It sounds silly to me. It's just somebody octopi. What are you gonna do? Fucking pontificators. But anyway. But yeah, octopuses use tools. They can blend in with damn near anything. They can get chunks ripped out of them by predators. But what else can they do? If they get away, they can regenerate. And come back anew. I find this to be relatable in any number of ways. And as alien as they might seem. I've yet to find another species that I'm aware of that more kind of symbolizes what one could refer to as the soul of humanity. What do we have beneath the surface? This enigmatic, potentially even bioluminescent thing that rarely sees the light of day from another observer. Funny thing, octopuses are not social creatures, but guess what they can do? They can bond with people. How about that? There's a hell of a film that came out some years back called My Octopus Teacher. I'd highly recommend it. You might see a little bit more of what I'm referring to. In my experience, it's somewhat of an unconventional life and had to take a number of unconventional paths to find my way out of certain kinds of traps, in a sense. Now, you know what the octopus is also phenomenal at? They're master escape artists. Enigmatic, almost an embodiment of their entire environment. There's an ebb and flow in their entire being. Every tentacle has a brain, by the way. So in essence, it's like it has a mind of its own, but they're all working in tandem with the larger organism. I also find this to be relatable in doing what a lot of people refer to nowadays as the work, trauma work, and any number of other things. This would be referring to developmental traumas, which according to a fair amount of renegades in the mental health field, wouldn't you know it, the complex developmental trauma seems to be the norm. Funny thing that. Why would that be the case? But yeah, in doing the work and getting more in tune with the mind of the body, if you will, and the heart for that matter, and cleaning and clearing up any number of issues going on in there, I've found that it almost is like a mind of its own too. There's an ebb and flow, almost like inhabiting a larger being, a more intelligent being. There's a phenomenal intelligence, by the way, in the unconscious as well. For those who might not know, the unconscious itself is like a quantum supercomputer, and we've all got them. There's also what's known as the collective unconscious. Talk about another major league quantum supercomputer. You know what else is going on in there? There's a language to it. The unconscious speaks a language of symbols and a number of other things. It speaks the language of feelings, sensations, and in getting in tune with these things more and learning what the language is, what do you know? There's an intelligence there. It's trying to work with us, talk to us. There's a movie that came out some years back called Arrival with Amy Adams. And in it, she's a linguist and she's contracted by the military to dialogue with a new species that has shown up on the planet. They're very octopus-like. And after getting a dialogue going with them, they start creating these symbols. And what these symbols are is their language. And over time, in learning the language, Amy Adams' character started developing a new sensory modality. In learning the language, which is the gift that they were giving to humanity, people were able to perceive and operate outside of time in a new way. And the creatures in this movie, which were called the heptapods, were doing this because right now, the human race needed the heptapods. But in 1,000 years' time, the heptapods would need humans. They're there to help and to deliver a language that exists in and outside of time. In any number of ways, in my experience, this is what the unconscious is like. In learning those languages, you can see things from a whole other angle. You can do things that you never thought possible. I don't want to get too overly grandiose about it, but there's a lot of phenomenal things going on in there. If anybody might be interested, I'd highly recommend a YouTube group called Young to Live By, Jung. They've got a great system of the unconscious kind of mapped out there. The whole trauma-informed thing is another part of the equation that's very important, but as far as what I like to refer to as the roadmaps to the unconscious, oh yeah, they've got that in spades, in some of the most palatable formats that I've come across so far. So yeah, there's some things. I think we'll stick a pin in that for now. Apart from that, thanks for tuning in, and until next time.